Hey, what's the deal, YouTube? It's your girl, Miss Honey. Welcome back to the channel, you guys. It is your girl, Miss Honey, here for a Handmaid's Tale recap slash review slash discussion. Won't be before you long today. This season finale episode 10, was just not great. It was just not great. I mean, that's all that I could say. It was poorly constructed. It was poorly developed. It was poorly executed. I went to sleep, no lie, 4 times. I caught myself snoring I what I'm saying, I know, like full on, outside of the fact that I also had my volume up on everything, soundbar, everything was up at the highest point. The the um dialogue was so low and so muted in this episode. Also, it was extremely dark. I mean, we're used to Handmaid's Tale having a lot of dark, post apocalyptic, gray, drudgery type settings. Um, but gosh, I mean, it was dark in the daylight. Outside, it was grayish dark. I mean, just, it was like they filmed it all in a closet. You know what I mean? I felt like I was listening to old time radio. You know what I'm saying? And actually, that probably has more detail because it has actual sound effects, right? It was a bizarre episode. But we're going to put it all up under the COVID rug. That's what we do. Anything goes wrong, you get poor service, or you get a half-arse written script, a half-arse directed scenes, episode, you get short seasons, all of that gets swept up under the COVID rug. COVID is to blame for all of that. We got a lot of footage from season 4 of Handmaid's Tale, but you guys, it wasn't meaty. It wasn't meaty at all. I just don't know. This season, to me, by far is one of their worst seasons. I don't think I've ever been disappointed in a season of Handmaid's Tale like I was with season 4. And I had hope last episode, which is why we did an hour long discussion and recap and all of that about it, because I was anticipating 10 being a doozy. But it wasn't. It wasn't at all. I found that the episode with the handmaids getting killed by the train, I found it more interesting than the season 4 finale. But y'all tell me what you think. Y'all put it down below. I don't have my contacts in today, so I'm just wearing my readers and I have my notes. So when you see me look down, that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at my notes. Typically they're down below and I can reference them really easy because I can see long distance. Not today. Okay, so we'll be back to contacts in the next video, right? But yeah, let's go ahead and get into this episode. Love to have you as a subscriber if you're new to my channel. I do shows like Handmaid's Tale, some movie reviews, some show reviews. I'm a little thin right now with reviews because I gave up reality TV just in time, honey, because COVID's got it too. COVID has got all of reality TV. But I do have a new series to my channel called Honey Roasted Headlines. And that's where I talk a little bit about celebrity news, political news, as well as just stuff that's in the headlines, right? And so I have another episode of that coming out on tomorrow, which is Thursday. I'm super excited about that. So if you haven't already, subscribe. Love to have you. Remember to hit that thumbs up button. You guys know it's like saying, hey, Miss Honey. Okay, as well as comment down below. I need you guys to give me some insight. You guys come by here. And we talk about this show. You guys know we talk about it down in the comments. I know that that's not something you get a lot in other people's reviews. You get a heart and you get pushed on. We talk about it. I be really wanting to talk. You know what I'm saying? I do really long detailed reviews because I want to talk about it. So let's get down in the comments. And y'all just share your thoughts on this last episode. Ooh, what in the world? Also, I want to address, I had someone slide into my DMs and asked me to explain a little bit more about my comment regarding Commander Lawrence not only being a butthole, but also coming across a little gay sometimes. And I mean that in the most respectful way possible. Like I was telling them in the DMs, I really do. I don't mean any harm by that at all. I mean, all are welcome. All are loved. All receive empathy. Okay, and compassion over here. Okay, this is a safe space for everyone, right? So it's cool. I just think, yeah, we need to kind of talk about it a little bit, don't we? Right? They're the lesbian women are exposed because they are categorized, they are separated and farmed out, um, and it's more apparent because they're being directly affected by the sadist in Gilead, right? And it is more horrifying, or triply horrifying, not more horrifying, but it's triply, doubly, whatever horrifying for them because they don't want men even in the slightest capacity. You know what I mean? So it's definitely a violation of a woman's rights, but also of a woman's choice as a lesbian, right? But I don't think we've ever addressed gay men. I don't think we've ever addressed gay men in Gilead. Certainly, there are gay men in Gilead. Certainly, there are gay men on the commander's board, right? Certainly. Certainly, there are married gay men in Gilead who are perpetrating like they are heterosexual because to be otherwise would probably mean they get the wall. So I think it's a discussion worth having. I haven't heard anyone bring it up. I'm sure it has been brought up. I just have not heard it. Yeah, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it down below. I said it. He's a butthole. He's sassy at the mouth, and he does come across like a homosexual male. All I'm saying. All I'm saying. And not because he's a butthole, just because of how he carries himself in general. Just saying. Also, if you guys don't do anything, please, please, please remember to go over to My Twisted Life of Poetry. I think it's My Twisted Life of Poetry and TV now. But just put in Twisted Life of Poetry and she'll pop up. Listen, she is raw. She is uncut. Okay, she's straight, no chaser. If you don't have your teeth, you cannot eat because she is straight meat. Okay, if you're still on the bottle, don't go over there. If you're gentle, if you fragile, you don't want to hear cussing, don't go over. Okay, Okay, but if you really, really want to get down into the nooks and crannies of the history of Handmaid's Tale, including Margaret Atwood's books and how it plays into the season, please head over to My Twisted Life of Poetry. She gave a really good review last week where she reminded us that it was Nick that brought Hannah to sort of torture June and convince her to tell where the handmaids were. It was Nick that did that. I had forgotten about that. And it just reminded us that I think this episode did as well. Either that or I was looking at Nick with more scrutiny this go round because I had seen My Twisted Life of Poetry's review. Yeah, she reminded us that Nick has been the antagonist where June is concerned. He's supposed to be this helper and so in love with her, but he's repeatedly done things that that have he's head of security that have been detrimental to June and other handmaids, right? I asked the question, I don't know if I asked it in my review or we talked about it in the comments. Why isn't Nick trying to escape from Gilead? Why is Nick staying in Gilead? I mean, you're right here at the Canadian border. Why don't you defect? I don't understand. Is it because he would be put in jail? But they got it good in jail in Canada. Like, why is he staying? And people like, oh, he's staying to help with Hannah. I was like, help with Hannah how? Help with Hannah how? You put Hannah in a transport and send her to the Canadian border. I mean, June was able to drive in the afternoon to meet you. You could have brought Hannah. You could have went and got Hannah. You could have commandeered Hannah, and all y'all could have went over the court, over the border. It's just weird. But yeah, go check out My Twisted Life of Poetry. She does a good job of reminding us, why we should be hating Serena Joy. She's not your typical victim. Same thing with Nick and a whole host of other things. And she reads my mind a lot. I'm pretty convinced that we're at least distant cousins. At least, right? So, yeah, in this episode, Fred has been offered a plea deal. As you know, June went off about that last week, and she threatened Tuello, and I'll kill you, I'll kill you, I'll kill you. I think she was really talking about Fred Waterford now that I think about it, but it was directed all towards Tuello. And this whole first 30 minutes is really like this whole melancholy saga of June just really trying to come into grips with the fact that she's being told no. June has never really been a handmaid. June has been a victim and June has been victimized, but June has never really been a handmaid. June still has a lot of tendencies where she feels like Serena Joy. They're similar in a lot of ways, where she feels entitled, where she feels like she should come first. What she wants should come first. Okay? And once again, we see her working on herself, something for herself, right? To appease herself, as opposed to focusing all of her time, all of her energy, all of her resources on getting Hannah back, right? Just saying. So yeah, June is invited to make a statement. They pretty much made up their mind. He's going to Geneva to for court there. He's not gonna stay in the city where they are for court. And June, like I said, she's not giving up on this. Um, let's see. Mark says Fred will most likely be granted immunity, and he's proven to be a valuable asset. I mean, he's basically telling where all the bodies are buried. They have some 22 or so women, I think, all women. I think they're all women who were in the resistance, who were key, instrumental in helping June and lead the resistance in Gilead, that they have in custody. And he's telling them all the facts. Also, he's telling them about a couple of the women who were in the resistance. They're asking about these ladies, and he's saying, oh no, she's no longer with us. Oh, it was an accident, and it was an accident with Commander, ABCD, where they gotten these girls in Gilead, and in Jezebel's in Gilead, and they've gone too far and killed one of them, gone too far in their sadism, and snapped a neck, or broken a back, or beat them to death, and it was just so matter of factly. This is the sickening part of Fred. This is the part of Fred which led us all to want Fred to go to hell. I was going to say go home to be with the Lord, but nah. Nah, baby, you ain't. Nah. They might talk to you in the annex, but you ain't getting behind them gates, Fred. He's so matter of fact. He's so nonchalant, but he's giving up all the tea. Like I said, Fred's going to fly to Geneva. And Moira, who is so all over the place. She's so all over the place. There are moments when Moira seems like the nanny. There are moments when it seems like Rita and Moira both kind of work for June and Luke. It's so bizarre. It's just weird. That whole setup, June, Luke, Moira coming in. Does Moira live there? I mean, Rita tidying up. They're hanging around like someone's died, and what it is June is disappointed. June is devastated. I mean, we all kind of are, because we were looking forward to Fred and Serena Joy getting their comeuppance through the legal system, right? But no one died. Rita is there tidying up the house and making tea and making sure June is okay. It's ludicrous. And Luke is running around, and he's just like, you know what? We're just gonna turn that frown upside down. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna just focus on our family and raising our daughter. That's not your daughter, Luke. And it's okay for you to have those feelings, sir. I find that you would be more interesting with these feelings. But you know what? This is all about June. It's all about June. June has been through a lot. We want to make sure we tiptoe around June. As a matter of fact, somebody get me 1 million cotton balls and place them all around, okay? So that we can all walk really softly around June. June has fought her way out of hell. She is not delicate. She wounded, but she ain't delicate. Okay? All right. Fred's going to find Geneva. Moira wants June to go there and give a statement. This is for Moira. This is Moira's answer. She knows that June has a lot of tenacity and a lot of wherewithal, and so she's gonna speak to that part of June. And it looks like support. It does. It looks like she's doing something. It looks like she's saying something of value. Moira knows. She already know. June believes it's pointless. We all do. And Fred's gonna he's gonna eventually be let go. He and Serena Joy. We see where June goes to see Fred, and he actually apologizes. I personally thought it would be great early on in the episode when she goes to see Fred and she's basically meandering around the room looking at all these different types of things. She's not saying much. She sends her security detail on out the door. Fred is in jail, in prison, so to speak, but he's got alcohol and all of that. And after he apologizes, she asks for a drink and then sits there and listens to him talk, where he does apologize, but he comes right on back round to his own wickedness when he says he misses Alfred the way Alfred was. Alfred was inspiring. Alfred was enticing. He halfway wants to have sex with June right now. She knew it. Right in that moment, she knew it. Oh, she knew it. She definitely knew it. When it came over her that, yeah, he apologized, and she said she wasn't expecting that, but then he goes right back into his wicked ways, this whole nonchalant, matter of fact, no big deal type conversation. She's she looks over at him like, are you get mother, you for real? She was like, yeah, I miss Alfred too. I miss Alfred's strength. Right? Because Alfred will bust Mister in the head and worry about heaven later. All right, okay. But it all goes over Fred's head. I thought for sure she put maybe some nightshade in the alcohol. I couldn't see where she had done it. I thought she was going to do it. I thought there was going to be this moment where she would put a little nightshade in his drink and then walk off smiling. And next thing you know, we would see Fred at the end of the episode foaming at the mouth and dying slowly in Serena Joy's arms. I really felt like that would have been an excellent ending. And it would have been the revenge that we wanted. And it would have included us as watchers, as viewers. It would have been clear and visible. But yeah. Anyway, June and Fred toast to Alfred, and June is resolute, meaning that she has determined that she's going to see Fred hang from the wall. June and Tuello, June goes to see Tuello, and she's sitting outside his house, and she says she wants to see Fred on the wall. And Tuello's like, listen, move on. At this point, you're obsessing. Like, you're here at my house. I get what you're going through, but you're being rude, you're being obnoxious, and it's not right. You need to get a grip. June realizes she can't bulldoze Tuello. He is moderately intimidated, but at the same time, they're all free. They're all free, right? So he's all he's ever been is free. So June is kind of trying to push him around in a way that she wouldn't necessarily be able to do if she was in Gilead. So she's definitely taking the bull by the horn, and she says that that Gilead can turn women into see you next Tuesdays. I was like, literally and figuratively, I guess. Valid point. Poorly made, but valid point. Yeah. Tuello agrees to at least talk with June about her idea for stopping Commander Fred for going free. Now, the reason why I say June and Serena Joy are a lot alike, because as indignant as June is behaving about the fact that the legal system has decided to take the wealth of the information that Fred has and, prioritize it over June's case and what happened to June, she feels like, how dare you? She absolutely should. It is absolutely an unjust thing to do, but that's a Wednesday in America, right? That's a Wednesday in America. You still gotta go to work. You still gotta, feed the kids. You still gotta take care of your home. You still gotta, you know what I'm saying? Serena Joy had this little immunity deal on the table, a good 72 hours, and she is telling Tuillo, she's making demands of Tuillo. She's telling him that the woman that's questioning her husband, she needs to be removed because she's not showing him the proper respect, and she needs to call him Commander Waterford and refer to him as Commander. And Tuello was like, what are you talking about? He really acted so meek and mealy mouthed. He was being a Democrat. And Serena Joy was being Mitch McConnell. You know how Mitch McConnell just pushed the Democrats around and just disregard anything they have to say. That's really how Canada is acting towards Safe Haven. Granted, yeah, check. But the way he just kind of cow-tied to Serena Joy, like you ain't in charge, like you ain't wholly and completely in charge. Like y'all don't have the upper hand. They're incarcerated, correct? She tells him that she will not have her baby be born in jail, so they need to get housing, and she wants to start looking for a proper home for them so that when her husband comes back, they can be a family in their own home. I was like, oh, you right on back to being a Serena, huh? Yeah, girl, you fell right into that, didn't you? But when she was in Canada before Fred got there, she was being all vulnerable and a victim. And so Tuello was like, Are you really talking about getting back with him and being a family? And she was like, my family should be together. And he was like, tell me how that works, Serena Joy. And she says, I don't think I have to tell you how that works. Just make it happen. And storms off. I mean, all indignant. If June did the same thing to him, he just had more pushback for June because he don't have feelings for June like he had feelings for Serena. Because she wooed him right on in. And she done sent Commander Fred on off to Geneva with her book manuscript so he can read it on the flight. And she wants some press time because, his constituents want to talk with him. They want to keep in touch with him. He's wildly popular right now. I was like, ooh, y'all and y'all privilege, child. All the way around. All this privilege. Anyway, so June's idea is that she and Tuello will go and see Commander Lawrence and talk with him about making a deal for trading these women, these 22 women who are in the resistance, for Fred. So in other words, they're going to take Fred and give him back to Gilead. And they will most definitely put him on trial for talking in Canada, right? Treason in Canada. And they get these women back, right? This is what June proposes to Mark. She makes a side deal with Nick, whom she can get on the phone with anytime. Anytime she can just dial him on up, right? Yeah, this is war, but she can just pick up the phone and call him anytime, right? And give him extensive conversation. So Tuello agrees to make the deal and to release Fred into Gilead's custody. Nick and the Eyes, which is the security force that Nick is over, then take Fred into custody. And it's so funny because Commander Lawrence says to June, she's there at the exchange, and Commander Waterford was so indignant. He was like, what's going on here? Think better of it, man. This is what he's telling to Willow. And then he sees June and he still doesn't come to him. I mean, he's just so completely oblivious and so steeped in his own privilege that he just like, he really feels like he can shame them or reprimand them or chasten them into doing what he wants them to do. How dare you? Let go of me. Commander Lawrence tells Sidebar tells June that even after Fred is dead, okay, she won't feel better. You know, I'm like, June, you let me be the judge of that, right? And then when Nick comes in and he sees Nick is there, and he's like, hold up, wait a minute. He knows that Nick is the head of the Eyes. Hold up, wait a minute. What do you do? Listen, son. Son, you don't want to do this, son. Listen, son. Son, I'm talking to you, son. Are you listening, son? Son, think better of this. Son, let's talk about this. Son. The privilege of it all. So Nick and the Eyes take Fred into custody, and Nick turns Fred over to June. June is in the woods. We don't know who these people are that's in the woods. It is dark as hell. They've got flashlights. And then there's, a dark ground. So it's not even a lot of snow on the ground. When snow is all around you, it's like a soft glowing light bulb. It illuminates things. The light from the whiteness, no pun intended, illuminates, right? But the ground is dark too. It is pitch dark. The individuals are standing on a hill with light behind them, so we just see their spooky silhouettes. Like, are they being released to a wild band of Yetis and Bigfoots? Like, what are we doing? And Fred says to Nick, where am I? Where is this place? And Nick says, no man's land. That's why I was like, okay, are they zombies? Is it rogue? Gileadians, like Canadians? Like, what? Are you releasing them to the bears, the lions, the coyote? Like, what are we doing? Unshackles him. He goes from being in the back of a truck. He rides a little ways and he's got a shackle around his neck, his hands. He's walked out here, shackle taken off of his hands. And Nick stands back and an individual walks a little bit closer, and guess who it is? It is June. June is in charge of the girls, right? In the entire season. So she walks up and thanks Nick and Fred is like, oh, give me a break. What is going on here? Somebody tell me what's happening here. Thank you so much, Nick. He's like, I love you. Where's Hannah? These eyes don't fight you on nothing. These eyes don't talk back to you about nothing. You could cool smooth ride up to Hannah's house, put bullets in everybody's head there but Hannah, take Hannah, you and the eyes, okay, and head on across the border with Hannah. If you wanted to, Nick, get the duck on up out of here. And so he walks on off, and it's just June there, and then all these figures on the hill behind her. And Fred is like, what are we doing here? Why are we doing this? This doesn't make any sense. I am completely confused. Why am I in the woods? This isn't right. Now you take me back home. I've got to be home before supper time. I'm wearing my good shoes. I don't have my ascot on. Like, I mean, the privilege just kept going all the way up to the end. June leans into him and says, run. And so we see him in a darkened outfit run through the darkened woods. And then we see all of these people sort of ascending down off the hill behind June. June has already started running, and they're running after him. June does not have a flashlight, but everyone around her has a flashlight. So all we see is darkness, and two outstanding figures, which is June and Commander Waterford, running one after the other, and then all of these other dark figures sort of encroaching in on the scene. We're looking down from an aerial view, and just faint flashlights, right? And so June, he trips and falls like any damsel in any scary movie, and goes down in soprano. And June, they commence to beating him. And then we go, she hits him and she kicks him. And he's like, oh, ow. But you was slapping women around. You was paddling Serena Joy. I mean, you've been tough. I mean, you have been tough. Now you letting June kick you around, sir? Okay. You so used to people coming to your rescue, you don't even know when you got to fight for your life. I don't understand. I just don't get it. But anywho, so she had already been having this dialogue about how she felt when he would take her out to these Jezebel parties, and when he would rape her and come into her room and abuse her and all of this stuff. She would have this, this mantra that she would say to herself: don't kick, don't scream, don't fight, don't bite. Just to remind herself to just go to somewhere in her mind and not focus on the violence that was happening to her in the moment. And so in this moment where she's executing violence against him, she's saying the same thing, but to him: don't scream, don't fight, don't bite. And then she reaches out and bites his bottom lip. It's all quite mild visually. He screams as though she pulled that lip off, like in a scary movie, like a long, tenuous, sinewy lip, but it wasn't. She just went in with the bite and came out. Her mouth wasn't even bloody. Didn't look like it to me. Anyway, it was all very dark. Pans out, we're back in an aerial view looking down, and all of the flashlights have been laid in a circle, and all of these women join in and kick Mister's butt. Okay, we gonna sit around and whoop your arse. Okay, shout out to Color Purple. That's what they do. We see it's the next morning. They've been working on him all night long. June walking out of the woods, right? People driving off in their cars and their vehicles. And she got a little blood right here, a little blood right here, and a little blood right here, and then another little rosy cheek blood smudge right there. And they've had time to mail and stamp and sign and return postage an envelope with a wedding ring and Fred's finger to send to Serena Joy, except the mailman checked it before he took it in there in her room. And he screamed like he a delicate the ring never even gets in there to Serena Joy. Like, what is the point? What are we doing here? Like, what is happening? And then we see where June is at home. She's at the foot of the steps. She comes in the house. She goes up the steps and she goes right into Nicole's room. Now, we saw a scene early on where June was frustrated and worried about Commander Waterford not getting his just desserts. And we hear Nicole scream and cry over the baby monitor. And it's like she's not even making a peep. June just could give a rat's rump. Finally, after Luke realizes he cannot cheer or distract or redirect June's anger, he says, let me go run and check on her. Yeah, because you that baby daddy and that baby mama. So here's the end of the scene where she's going up the flight of steps into Nicole's room, and Nicole is sitting there like, cuckoo, a goo goo gaga, yeah. And she, hi, sweetie. She's covered in blood. Hi, sweetie. Hey, mama's little snickerdoodle, mama's little angel. Yes, she is. She's mama's little poopy doopy. And in walks Luke, and Luke is like, June? Question mark. June? And he sees her, and he sees that she's all rat-a-tat-tattered, and he just hits the wall and slides down it like, oh. See, this the kind of weak-ish that Luke does. I'm just gonna say it. Luke has been a weak link since they had to pack up him, Hannah, and June and get the heck out of Dodge because Gilead was after them. Okay, he got mollywopped and got a glass jaw and got knocked out, and his wife and his daughter got taken. And then you sat in Canada now for some 8 years and collected clippings and articles and did nothing to get your baby out of there. Okay, June comes back and she is broken, yes. Oh, yes, she is wounded, yes. But you still don't have enough depth and bass in your voice. You don't have enough fortitude, inner strength at all to lead, even in the slightest. You just slide down the wall. Like the look on her face with all of this. It ain't a lot of blood. It was very well placed on her face, and she started kissing the baby with Commander Waterford's blood. Like, it was just weird. It was disgusting, and it was weird. And she says, I know. He says nothing. He just squatted there on the floor, just like, what have you done? I'm like, well, is the police coming after her? Is she got to go on the run now? What's happening? I don't know. And she says, I know, I'm sorry. Just give me 5 minutes with her. Just give me 5 minutes with her and I'll go. Who said you had to go, June? Who said you got to leave? We don't need to talk about this at all. Not you and Luke. Luke don't count. Luke is jellyback. You don't need to discuss this with us and tell us what you're doing. You don't need to write that in the script at all, June. I just don't get it. I'm confused. I just don't understand. Yeah, it was just weird. So, yeah, June and some other former handmaids hunt down Fred and kill him and hang him on a wall, not the wall, but a wall, and write this Latin saying up underneath it. I have no idea what the saying was. I had to stop and freeze and get up and walk up to the TV and read it. I mean, I was just like, what is going on? It was so dark. It was so much wording. but it was a very small space to write it in. So the words were kind of close up on each other. Like, it was just poorly done, you guys. Oh my gosh. And anyway, she promises to leave. She promises to leave. I'm like, well, where is she going? Is she gonna join the resistance? Is like, what is happening? Is she gonna, everybody's like, oh, well, she's gonna go now. She's gonna go back into Gilead and get Hannah. I was like, what? And you just gonna leave this baby? You gonna leave this baby with this man who ain't even his daddy? Who ain't even her daddy? I mean, Luke ain't even saying Nicole is not my responsibility. None of that. He's just sitting there on the floor with a bucket full of tears in each eye that he refuses to blink and drop. June is just like, yeah, this is what I wanted anyway. This is what I wanted anyway. And Luke be damned. Nicole be damned. Freedom be damned. My revenge on Commander Waterford is first and foremost, above everything. I mean, she kind of talks about it with Emily when they're sitting on the steps, and she says, well, I want to let this go. I want to let this go. I don't believe that. I think June knew that letting it go, or at least stepping back from it, was the right thing to do, because she is Luke's wife and she is Nicole's mom. And she does need to be focused on Hannah. But she said, I can't let him go. I can't let him go. And she doesn't. That is episode 10, you guys. That is the end. I still don't even know what the words meant. The Latin words meant underneath him. I have no idea. You guys know, put it down below. If I find out, I will put it in the community tab. But let's just talk about this episode, you guys. Y'all tell me what you think. Put it down below. And until next time, honeybees, I'll holla.